Trap it out.
Welcome to Otaku Shot, where it's nothing but liquor and anime. I'm Shane.
I'm Scott.
Cheers. What are we drinking tonight, Scott?
Well, we got some Blue Moon here, and we're also sipping on some Southern Comfort.
Yeah, which we have drank quite a lot of at this point. Actually, pretty much a full cup, to be real here.
A full cup? I'd say at least 2 full cups.
We are very drunk. This is a drunk podcast. Anyway.
Is it?
I was wondering with the Otaku Shot and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, shots, I was thinking like revolvers. I don't know. I guess I'm just out of the loop here.
Anyway, I want to first start out by saying a little about us. So, I run a blog on Tumblr called Hideyoshi's Nagashika. I make graphics and GIFs and whatnot. And what about you, Scott?
Well, I'm not any type of internet personality. I'm just your sidekick for the time being. Dare I say the Robin to your Batman?
This is true. Scott's kind of like the guy that I kind of just chose in the beginning that was like, hey, I don't want to do a podcast alone, and I might as well have another person involved.
You chose me? It's not just like we don't have any other friends? Okay.
Well, I mean, we also don't have any other friends besides us. It's pretty much just us.
So you chose me, but only because I was the only choice.
You were pretty much the only choice, actually. To be real here, yes, you were the only choice.
Deep shit coming out already. Okay. Whatever, move on. I'm over it.
Well, to start off, I want to kind of talk about our first experience with anime. So, Scott, what was your first experience with anime?
My first experience with anime was probably watching all the shit that would play on Toonami. I mean, I always stayed up way past my bedtime as a kid.
Like we all did.
Yeah, exactly. Just Cartoon Network was about the only channel that I watched at that age, and after a certain point in time, it would turn into, on Saturday nights, it would always be Toonami, which was all like the anime shit that they played.
Yeah, for sure.
And that really started my interest in it. When Naruto started airing like during the day with Cartoon Network, I started watching that, and once I kind of figured out that like wasn't okay, like people thought it was weird to watch anime, I was like, oh, I better not do that.
But I better not do that. Better stay away from that all of a sudden.
But a few years ago, I started watching Sword Art Online, and that really kind of thrust me back into the world of anime, and I've been watching it ever since.
Well, that's the one gateway anime for fucking everybody pretty much who gets into anime. I will say
it's one of the main ones that I show people when I'm trying to get them into it.
This is true, because it definitely captivates people, I think.
Definitely.
Regardless of how shitty Sword Art is. But I'm going to say, for my experience, it's pretty much the same as Scott. I started on Toonami. Naruto was actually the first thing I watched. I actually have a story because the first time I ever was involved in watching anime, basically I was trapped in this cabin for a good week. And at the time, they were playing, nothing but Naruto on just Cartoon Network in general, even through Adult Swim. So, for just, a week straight, they were just playing episode after episode of Naruto. And since Toonami was the only thing I ever watched at the time, it was the only thing I had to go off of, and the only thing I was watching. So, eventually, I was like, fuck it. Okay, I'll watch Naruto, I guess, since I'm being basically forced to watch Naruto. And I ended up loving it. It was great. I got right in there, right in the Zabuza arc, I think. And from there, I just ended up loving it. It was great. And then that's kind of the only anime I really watched for a long time. I watched that for a good shit. I've been watching that since 2004. And then eventually, like Scott brought up, I eventually got into Sword Art, which drew me back into anime. And that's where I am now. I got back into anime fully from Sword Art, and then now I've just been watching so many different anime ever since.
What type of genres do you watch now? Now that you've been into it for a while, what do you prefer?
So for genres, specifically for things that we prefer, I would say that my top 3 genres per se would probably be, my first one being horror. There's not a bunch of horror anime, at least that I have yet to find, but in my opinion, horror would be my first one, mainly because I'm just like a big horror movie person.
Yeah.
Second would probably be like, I dig the shonen stuff like Naruto, essentially.
You gotta, dude. That's like, that's the shit right there.
And then probably, I really like romance shoujo type stuff. I'm a sucker for romance. You all will find out from listening to this podcast. If there's a romance anime, tell me about it. I would love to watch it. I'm all about that. What about you, Scott?
I watch a lot of like slice of life animes, but most of the ones that I watch tend to have some type of like supernatural or like sci-fi element to it. Like my favorite anime currently is Interview with Monster Girls, which is just like pretty much your average slice of life anime, but it happens to involve demi-humans.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I know. You've told me all about it.
I've talked so much about it. It's one of the few animes that I've gone back and rewatched, really, because I don't typically do that. But I watch a lot of other, like... I watch, like, anything with fantasy, like, settings I'll be into. Like, a lot of action and adventure stuff is kind of what I'm into.
And lollies. Scott's very into lollies.
Okay, you don't gotta bring up the lollies right away. This is episode 1. Let's let them figure out that I'm into lollies.
On that note, cheers. Let's have a drink.
I like cute things, okay? There's nothing wrong with liking things that are cute.
This is true.
Should I be saying kawaii, or is that just cringy?
That is cringy as fuck. Do not.
Okay.
I think it's funny because, like, even with the whole kawaii thing, like, I'm very against people saying, like little, like, Japanese phrases to people, like, because they think it's, like, an anime thing.
Remember that time I called Japanese anime language?
Yes, this is true. And it was horrible, and you're horrible for that.
Well, I'm just a horrible person.
But my whole thing is that I'm just really not into it. I think it's funny, though, because me and Scott... If anybody has ever seen Steins Gate, every time we ever interact with each other, when we first see each other, our first response to seeing each other is Tutaru! Tutaru! But yeah, that's our actual, like, greeting towards each other.
And I mean, that even started before I even watched Steins Gate, when we were talking about, like, dubs versus subs and how, like...
Oh, God.
how wrongly pronounced things... Tutaru,
dude. Oh, that's so cringy. Anyway, getting back on topic, one of the things I wanted to talk about also is the amount of anime that we have watched. So for me, I would say that I've watched roughly 120 animes.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Or anime, it doesn't matter either way.
Yeah, guys, please tell us, like...
Is it anime or animes?
Is it animes?
We have no idea.
Yeah, it's a mystery.
But either way, I've seen about roughly 120 animes. That includes movies. What about you?
I've probably seen somewhere around 80. I don't really keep track of them per se, but I've gone through and watched a lot of the ones that you recommended to me, as well as things that I've watched on my own. So I'd say it probably comes up to about half of what you've watched. So like, or a little bit more than half, I guess. So
okay.
like 70, 80, maybe 60 at the low end.
Yeah, Scott actually took a lot of like my interests pretty much.
I also have several animes that I have not finished yet.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't finished Gintama, haven't finished Haikyuu, haven't finished Assassination Classroom.
Which, fuck you for not finishing Haikyuu or Assassination Classroom, because both of those are amazing. Like... And Haikyuu, you only have 10 episodes left. Just finish it. I don't know why I need to say this to you any further.
Well, I know I'm going to want to watch all 10 episodes, and I'm going to want to binge them. So I keep on thinking I'll wait till I have a day off to watch it. But because I've gotten into watching subs, it's like if I want to watch that many episodes, I need to sit down and devote time to that. Like, I can't just do it while I'm doing something else. And like, I work 2 jobs. I don't have time now to sit down and watch 10 episodes of a fucking anime straight.
I guess that's true, but there was nothing I said about watching it straight through.
That's just my own thing.
I get it, but like you can watch 3 episodes time to time and finish it and still understand it completely.
That's not how I watch anime. I watched Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon in one night. That's like a 12 to 14 episode anime. I watched it in one night, dude.
Think about this. I have watched it was Bleach, I think. Bleach I watched in its entirely, which is like 360 episodes. I think I watched that in maybe 4 or 5 days.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say a lower number of days. So I was getting ready to say that's impossible, but that actually kind of makes sense.
I think my original estimate was like 3 days, but then I was like, that's too much. Like, that's too many episodes for what it was. And I don't think there are that many hours in 36 hours that would equal that amount of time.
Bleach is one of those shows that I'm like, I'll watch it for a good period of time, but after a while, I'm like, okay, he's lost his powers like 6 times.
Spoilers, Scott.
Oh, come on. If you haven't fucking seen Bleach by now, get the fuck out of here.
I guess that's kind of true to be real here.
Although, like, sorry for those spoilers.
Also sorry for those people who have not watched Bleach.
That's not really a spoiler.
That's not really a spoiler. It's a necessary shonen feature to anime.
Like, how many times in any shonen anime are they like, oh, here's this guy who's the strongest opponent we've ever faced. Oh, I'm somehow stronger than them. Oh, here's this other strongest opponent he's 10 times stronger than the last guy who we barely defeated. Oh, but I have just enough energy to beat this other guy who is 10 times as strong as the last guy that I just barely beat.
And for those who have never watched shonen anime, what the fuck are you doing with your life? This is the exact course of how it goes.
I was thinking earlier today about how like your typical like shonen protagonist is always the guy who's like
the badass.
But like he never they never give up. Like even if the odds are totally good. But I was just thinking about how totally against real life. Like think about yourself. Like if you were faced with insurmountable odds that you could never overcome, like a shonen anime protagonist would be like, I don't care about the odds. I'm going to give it everything I got, even if I die. But meanwhile, I'm like, oh, I don't want to put that much effort into this.
I'm out, guys.
I'll give up for now.
I would say that if I was the protagonist of a shonen anime, I would not be. I would die. I would die instantly.
I would just give up.
I'd be like, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm going to go home and forget about all the supernatural things that could kill me eventually.
Real life versus anime.
Real life versus anime, which is just giving up and not trying any further.
Because we live in reality and not.
Well, think about it though. Like if the actual like supernatural verse of anime existed and you were presented with that option to be basically a protagonist, you wouldn't probably first of all realize that.
True.
Second of all, you probably wouldn't be like, oh, well, I'm about to dedicate my entire life to this one battle that could kill me. And then you don't die and you somehow make it through it. And they're like, okay, this is a shonen anime.
Yep.
And
I'm just going to live no matter what. So as long as I believe in myself, I can win. And because somehow that's the superpower of every shonen protagonist is like, They just believe, like, really, nobody else in their whole fucking world believed that if they just tried really hard, they could do it. Like, come on.
That's the thing about all shonen stuff. It's just believing in yourself. It's giving that positive message, Scott. You gotta get the positive message in anime.
That message is a joke.
Yeah, hey, if you have superpowers and you have the time for this, you will live. Don't worry, you will not die. On that note, cheers for shonen anime.
Gotta hurry up. I'm almost done with this.
Are you almost done with that? I just spilled this all over my beard.
But then again, I'm an alcoholic, so...
let's not get into that in this podcast. We are not alcoholics, I promise you guys.
Yeah, we only named our podcast Otaku Shot. We're not otakus or alcoholics.
Apparently not. Apparently for this podcast, you guys are listening to frauds. Anyway.
Phonies. We're just a bunch of phonies.
I think we're going to move on finally.
Okay.
So, moving on.
Yeah, I'm just a sidekick here, okay? You let me go.
I know.
So.
But, Robin does do his fair share. So, we'll go to that. Anyway.
You better buy me some green tights. Are his tights green?
Yeah, they're green. It depends which way you're looking at it. There are multiple Robins.
Okay.
I'm not getting into that, even though I'm a huge Batman fan. But anyway, moving on, we're going to go to current anime that we are watching. So, Scott, what current anime are you watching right now?
Well, I'm watching Shokugeki.
Of course, like us all, I hope.
What was the one you showed me? I don't remember the title, unfortunately. It's like the dude who's totally oblivious and the chick that like confesses to him but then just ends up working with him.
Oh, Gekken Shoujo.
Yeah, I've been watching that. I haven't watched anything since Crunchyroll got hacked. I just got a new phone after all that happened. So
yeah, that's right.
I still need to get your password again because
that was a big thing. I forgot to tell you that last time we were hanging out.
Yeah, because I'm too cheap to have my own Crunchyroll account, so I just use this guy's.
He's apparently also too cheap to just get on Kiss Anime and just fucking watch it without an account.
It's like I don't need all the ads about hot Asian women in my area.
You don't need streaming sites to be real here. I only have Crunchyroll just because I've had a Crunchyroll account for years now, and it's just more convenient to me to pop on my PS4 and watch something that's being streamed on Crunchyroll. But that's a great burp there, buddy.
You didn't have to comment
Let's take a drink on that so you can burp again.
How many is that? 4 cheers?
I mean, probably.
Who cares?
We don't have a drinking game going yet, which
We'll
get to.
one.
We'll get to eventually. But
every time we're watching an anime and they say a protagonist name, we drink.
That's too much.
We'll be fine.
But for current anime, no, no. But fucking anyway, for me. So the anime that I have been actually watching this season, not a whole lot. I watched Shokugeki. I'm watching it's not a part of the season, but I'm watching Monogatari right now. I just finished Bake. Which I've talked about with Scott. Scott has watched mostly the entire of the Monogatari series.
Yeah, I'm probably like 3/4 of the way through, maybe like halfway through at the very least, but I always forget how much I've watched of a certain series.
Yeah, I got it. But like
I tend to skip around for the shows that I'm watching. Like eventually I'll get bored and I'll check out other animes and I'm like,
yeah, Scott's a real bastard is what he's trying to say when it comes to anime. And when I'm trying to show him multiple things and I'm like, oh cool, did you watch that? He's like, oh no, I started something else.
Well, it's like, listen, when you're home alone all by yourself and you're like, well, I could watch Monogatari, or I could find a new anime with lots of lollies and look at how cute they are.
Once again,
so it's
back to the lolly concept.
Which one do you pick though? Like the good anime or cute girls?
You pick good anime.
Fuck that.
I fucking recommended you.
I want cute lollies though. If you guys have any animes to recommend with cute lollies, please let me know. Our Twitter is it just at otakushot?
Yeah, it's at capitalized otakushot.
Yeah, please tell me all the lolly animes to watch. I will watch them all.
Or you can leave it down in the YouTube comments. Either way, Scott, you gotta pick up the slack of what I've been telling to watch you. God damn. Anyway,
if I picked up everything you told me to watch, I would be way overloaded.
You know, that's kind of true to be Ariel here. I've kind of showed you everything that I wanted to. Well, I'll say, for the most part, from what I've told you, you have watched most of the things I've asked you to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I mean, put them on the queue and I'll watch them, dude.
I guess that's true for the Crunchyroll queue. I didn't mean to rhyme there. Crunchyroll. But back to the current anime. Yes, I'm watching Shokugeki and Monogatari. I'm not watching really anything else besides that. I was watching Welcome to the Ballroom, but I have not really got back into that. It was super good. It's not, once again, with the whole streaming platform, the reason why I like Crunchyroll is because it's easy for me to watch in bed. For stuff that isn't streaming on Crunchyroll and other media, when I have to get on Kiss Anime, it's just like, it's more of a bitch to me to really get on there and watch it. Yeah. Mainly because I don't have a platform to watch it on.
That's why I don't really use Kiss Anime. Is like, I use it on my computer, but it doesn't work right. Like, I have to do a whole bunch of extra shit to get it to flow.
Exit out of the ads and shit and whatnot.
Otherwise, it's just super glitchy, and I'm like, I want to know what happens, but I can't deal with 5 more minutes of loading screen.
I get that. But back to the fucking topic.
What was the topic?
It was current anime we're watching.
Okay.
But for Shokugeki Monogatari was what I've been watching. Like I've said a fucking 100 times now. They're both great. I highly recommend both of them. Monogatari has been personally the best thing I've been watching this season. I love Shokugeki and I love it so much, but Monogatari definitely tops it. Monogatari it's got such a cool plot line.
What do you think about like the animation that they do in that? Like how everything's kind of like abstract and like weird. Because I remember when we were talking about it like just a little while ago, you were saying that was kind of like one of the turnoffs for you, is kind of how like weird it was animated and like the weird art style that it has.
Not really a turnoff. So originally, it's the studio animation company that does Monogatari is Shaft. So Shaft does also
I'll give you a Shaft.
I'm not
I couldn't help it.
I'm not getting into this. Anyway, there's an anime called Mekaku City Actors, otherwise known as Kagero Project, which is also done by Shaft. And basically they both do the kind of like the abstract way of doing things where like also like where it's like where they show backgrounds and whatnot and scenery. It's kind of a little different, a little bit unorthodox as opposed to normal anime.
Yeah.
And that's just, I loved it about it. And Scott said I was turned off to it. Originally, I was kind of turned off to it because sometimes it's kind of hard for me to like follow with how they jump back, especially Monogatari, where like they kind of like show random clips and like they show random like second long clips of just like a phrase or something.
Are you talking about like in the intro for the episodes, how those just show like
a bunch of words?
Ton of words?
But like they also do this thing in Monogatari where they show like, it'll say like black and it's like a black screen, or they'll show like a red screen for like a moment.
Yeah.
And it's just to kind of add emphasis to something. I'm not really sure. And they also do this thing where they will show scenes very fast to kind of give you more anxiety towards certain scenes. And like,
I mean, it's very well done the way that they show you the scenes in such an order and like in a with the right amount of timing to make you feel that sense of like confusion, but at the same time you're like, okay, I kind of got what that was trying to tell me, like, and like you don't really know, and like you're always on like uneasy and on edge when the show is running, and like. It's brilliant. That show is fucking brilliant.
So far, I will say that from watching Monogatari, for those who have not watched Monogatari, Monogatari will probably be, I'm going to say, one of my favorite series. From the first part of watching Bake, I can tell that throughout the series, it is definitely going to be one of my favorites. It has such a good look to it to me now that I've like really dived into it. The characters are amazing. The plot line is amazing. And I know that Monogatari is a bit like, it does a lot of like weird things, like, you know, the series is like off track as opposed to like actual arcs. There's not a chronological order from the beginning, and I really like that about it. So getting back to that, I'm ready to see what's to come. I'm ready to watch more. I'm actually about to start Nisei tomorrow. So we'll get to that eventually. Maybe we'll talk about this next podcast. But it's so good to me. But anyway, moving on. So what I wanted to get into eventually is how anime has really affected us as people. And I will say it's definitely drastically taken over my life.
Oh, for sure.
Like, anime has become kind of like more of like a part of me, my personality, to be real here.
It's like Like I was just telling you the other night, it's like I'll meet somebody for the first time. Hey, I'm Scott. I like anime. If you don't like anime, get out of my immediate vicinity, because that's all I'm going to talk about.
I mean, this is true. I wasn't necessarily like that. Like, anime is definitely my favorite media platform. But
I agree.
But I wasn't so forceful with it. So, anime has definitely changed my life. It's changed my room. Like, I have so much.
Changed your room more than anything.
I have so much shit now. To figures, to posters, to fucking manga and videos.
Meanwhile, it's just ruined all my friendships except this one.
And here we are creating a podcast for it. But it's just so much, and I really embrace the otaku culture, and it's just so great to me. For most people, it's very different to people.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people consider it like weird and nerdy, but it's becoming like less so in American pop culture, at least, where it's like anime is becoming more accepted. So it's like it's not as weird as it used to be. But it's still like, if you tell people you watch anime, they're like, oh, so you're a weeb? And it's like, no, I don't own any body pillows, I promise.
See, the problem with anime is that...
I wish I did, though. Sorry to interrupt.
I mean, true here, to be honest.
Christmas gifts.
Christmas gift?
If you said you were going to give me something...
I will get you a body pillow, I guess.
He could use my favorite.
He could use my favorite... He's referring to Monster Girls once again. But back to the topic. So, for anime, I would say that, like, I love the otaku culture. And now I'm a little more okay with saying what I'm into. But I remember, like, back in high school when I first got into anime. And I did have, like, a real desire to talk to somebody about it. I just didn't want to because... of how it kind of was.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to, like, throw myself out there and, like, talk to all these anime nerds and just be like, I don't know. There was a whole association thing with it, and, like, it still definitely was nerdy and kind of taboo at high school.
I mean, when I was in, like, probably 4th or 5th grade, like, I used to play Naruto with all my friends. Like, we all had our own, like,
on the recess?
Yeah, we'd all have our own, like, made-up, like, jutsus and shit. But it's, like... As you start getting older...
Jutsu is what you're talking about.
Whatever. I'm fucking...
We're hammered. It doesn't matter.
It's whatever. Words are words. You get what I'm saying.
I
get what I'm saying.
Continue.
But it's like, as people would start, like, looking at that and considering it weird, like, I found myself drifting away from it. And it was like... Even when I was getting back into it with, like, sword art, it was, like, really... only people that I talked to that I for sure knew also watched anime. Like, I wouldn't bring it up at all. Like, I would try to not be singled out for watching it. But now, I'm just to the point where it's like, I don't care about that. It's like, it's one of my interests.
Same here.
If you don't like it, you can get the fuck out of my sphere.
Okay. So, for my opinion also, so Scott, those who don't know, Scott has been my friend since middle school, right?
Yeah.
We had kind of like a falling out at some point.
Because it was like 7th or 8th grade, and I was like, you want to come over and play?
Yeah, Scott asked me to his house to play. But besides that...
And by play, I meant run around in the woods with knives.
So this is true. So we've been friends for a good, 6 years now?
Something like that.
Yeah. But I remember when... I don't remember where I was exactly going with this, but I remember back in the day when, like,
when we... After the falling out we had in high school, like, we reconnected over anime pretty much.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
It was that time at the mall when you almost hit me with your car. And then we both got out.
I did almost hit Scott with my car.
And we were like, holy shit, what's up?
Yeah, like, hey, how you doing?
And we got to talking, and it was pretty much like, well, what have you been doing? And we were both like, well, been doing nothing but watch anime.
This is true.
And then we started talking about it, and that's really how we, like, kind of reconnected after our high school days.
What I was originally going to go into, actually, was that whenever I first started, like, so Scott was one of my main friends, but, like, I had a few friends that I wasn't really, like, they weren't really into the nerd culture. But when I first got into anime in high school, and they were, I had some sort of, like, I got into anime, and I really liked it, but I just didn't want to tell them kind of about it, just because I knew that they would. It was more like a judgmental thing.
There's this whole mentality of like, oh, you're weird if you watch anime. Like you're a weeb, and like, yeah, it's all like if you watch anime, you watch hentai, and it's like, I mean, I watch hentai. I don't know about you guys.
I mean, like, to be real here, yes. Like hentai is always the stigma towards it though, because people always associate anime with hentai, and that's a thing.
I mean. It's like, if you're going... Listen, if you're going 20...
Listen, you gotta explain everything first. Continue, though.
If you're going 26 hours without human contact and just watching anime, it's like eventually...
This has got sad. I don't want to hear about this any further. This has got sad. This got no way into what I thought it was going to be. Scott has fallen down.
I'm out for this podcast.
Anyway, in the end here, anime is affected as a whole deal. Alright, shut up! For me specifically, though, when I first got into anime and, like, later on in life, and I started talking to my friends about it, I didn't really want to get into it just because I knew that they weren't really into anime, and I knew that they would be more judgmental about it, and that's kind of how it used to be. But, putting that aside... I think we're good to end this podcast for the night. You got kind of the intro to who we are, and we're ready to see how this is going to play out in the future, and I hope you guys keep listening. But anyway, I want to give a certain shout out actually to Elaine at Vongola on Tumblr. Thank you so much for doing everything for us, for helping us animate and kind of rework our logo. You did such a fucking amazing job, and I cannot thank you enough for it. And that's kind of all I got.
Yeah, remember to follow us on Twitter at otakushot and follow you on Tumblr. What would be the correct?
Hideyoshi's Nagashika.
Yeah.
That'd be the main place. You guys can actually ask me questions and stuff here if you guys want to hear anything else on our podcast. As well as following us on SoundCloud. We're gonna be up on
subscribe
SoundCloud
to us on YouTube.
Yes, for sure.
Just all the social medias.
Essentially, yes. But thank you guys all for listening. We're glad that you have been a part of this podcast, and thank you so much. Good night.
Night.